conference event for you?
Well, the competition, I think, for sure. Just to play those teams and be in Arizona, road trip. I think that's great opportunity for the kids. And then when you attach Major League Baseball to it, it adds some pop to it. But I think at the end of it, it's just the teams that you're playing and getting started with the season.
Is it any different playing 3 different teams to start out as opposed to a Stanford or somebody like you've done in recent years and seeing the same hitters 3 days in a row?
It is different. We've done it the Dodger Classic. It makes it a little bit difficult to prepare for 3 teams because there's a lot of unknowns, but we might not be as much of an unknown as some of the teams we're playing just because of our returning players. But at the same time, it is a little bit different. You typically get into a situation where you match up 1, 2s, and 3s with an opponent's 1, 2s, and 3s. In this case, you really don't know what you're matching up against. So that will be a little bit different. But the teams are good. It's SEC competition for sure. Be tough games.
How have the weeks been leading up to this and just getting the guys out here and I guess doing as much as you can in what we've been given weather-wise before this?
Well, it's been good. We haven't skipped a beat. We haven't been inside one time. So I think that notion of God's stadium, He creates it and we just play in it. It's nothing we do about it. So you get into Major League Baseball and there's potential of playing playoff baseball in 30-degree weather. So we've actually been pretty fortunate. It hasn't, it's rained some, but we've gotten through it and we have the turf, so we're lucky that way. Preparation's been the same. It's really no different than the fall. I think that's the appeal of older kids who have been around before and know how to handle themselves, and they've been a big help to the coaching staff.
Yeah, how important is having a veteran group starting out a season to kind of help set the tone and the identity of this team?
Well, I think from a communication standpoint, Chris, they probably have the ability to communicate to the younger guys and the unknowing players of what's going to happen, what a road trip looks like, how you prepare. They've taught them how to prepare during training as well as the coaching staff, but the game's a little bit different. There's a mindset. It's kind of a funneling effect where you go from broad to very narrow in a matter of 2 to 3 hours. And those kids have been through it enough now. They've been through postseason competition, preseason competition, and they won't get any jitters. I think they're just excited more than anything else. But I think they're good role models in the playing environment for the younger kids.
How does it help you in knowing what you're going to get, at least to start the season?
Well, I think for me, it's almost like you're handing the keys off to your older children to drive the car. It's like, I'll get in the back seat and let me watch this for a while, which I think is one of the best feelings you can have as a coach is when your older guys start driving the car for you and taking ownership of the trip. I think that's where we are right now. They've done a nice job during the course of the fall from an academic and social standpoint, and the baseball part of it's been very consistent. Typically when you get seniors in a program, that they can take a back seat in the training environment because they've been there, done that, and they're going, I'm looking forward to the games. These guys have not done that. They've been very forthright in their approach to what's going on here, and they've made it the most important thing, which is important.
You guys always start off with challenging teams. I mean, getting Virginia right out of the gate is kind of a good test, isn't it?
It is for both clubs, for Virginia and for us. So yeah, it'll help everyone. I mean, I think in this tournament right here, once all the teams leave it, I think they'll say we helped each other. And I think at the end of it, it's not going to dictate where anyone goes, but someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. You just want to be Vanderbilt, but at the same time, it is going to help each other out.
Your first appearance in the College World Series here was in Charlottesville. Of course, you had 2014, 2015. Yeah. I mean, you and Virginia just going to keep crossing paths in big situations like this, you figure?
We have. I know Brian for a long time. He was an assistant when I was an assistant, and then we became head coaches at the same time. So, yeah, it's just unique how we've played one another. We went to their regional back in 4, and then the 14 and 15 scenarios were very great competition. We maximized the opportunity there. Both teams stayed there 17 days. We both played each other 3 times. One won a national championship. The other one did. So, yeah, we've had some good battles with them, and look forward to doing that again.
Do you still have the conversation with your guys, even though this is a veteran group, that, hey, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon, this is a long season? Because there is a lot of excitement, I think, when it gets going.
Yeah, there is when it gets going. I talked about it yesterday, actually. We talked about roles and how they're very fluid and how they change. And, I think the other thing is just to not forewarn them, but, seasons are, they're difficult. They're tough. There's a lot of ebbs and flows in them. And even if you win, even when we were in 13, we had that magical year, that wasn't easy because you're managing emotions within a lot of successful situations. So, I think that's the art of teaching and coaching. I think it's just trying to keep harmony within your group for as long as you can, and try to keep the inner circle, and try to keep everything inside, because once it starts to go onto the outside, then that's when voices and minds go elsewhere, and you really can't do that. You got to contain those minds so they can help each other.
What are your biggest questions heading into your first weekend?
I guess just the unknowns of a middle infield right now. We know who it is, but it's just two guys who haven't played there before. A little bit third base too. And then the outfield. Outfield's a little bit different in terms of center field and managing that. And then I think then just how we're going to play. I mean, that's always an unknown. I mean, you think you got something, but you don't know.
When you say center field, is Cooper Davis an option out there the first weekend?
Yeah, he's an option too. Yeah.
How much did Connor Kaiser spoil you with his defense up the middle the last couple of years, and how realistic do you have to be that you don't get a guy like that all the time?
Yeah, 3 errors. It's tough to do. I've seen guys do that in 5 minutes out here. Yeah, he does. I mean, he's just one of those sure-handed kids you get every so often. Ethan's playing there now, and Ethan's pretty good too. But to play that length of time, that clean, with that type of focus, he's just such a good example, because what I can do with him is utilize what he did during the training period and show his stats and show video of how he actually attacked training and what made him so successful. It's consistency. And it goes back to consistency and maturity enable players at this level to excel. And if you're not there, then it just takes more time, or you never get it. But Connor was one of those kids. It was consistency in everything he was doing. He's a very mature kid.
And
He
you've got,
spoiled me.
you've got
Yeah.
4 really talented catchers in this roster. What have you liked from them over the offseason? What do you see their roles being going into the season?
Well, they're going to have to share, and sharing sometimes for men is tough, but they're going to have to do that. They all can hit. Dominic, probably the young guy that, from a freshman standpoint, they'll probably have to watch a little bit longer, but I wouldn't rule him out because he's capable too. But I think they all give us something different. And Clarkie and Duval just catch only. Steven Scott's played every position on the field this fall and this spring, so there's more that we can do with him. So it's just trying to get as many of those kids on the field that we can, using the outfield spot, the catching spot, and the DH spot. But, someone's going to have to share. Someone's going to have to take a backseat at certain times, and that's what I expect them to do, and that's what they expect each other to do.
Coach, we won't get to see you on Friday. Can you just get your thoughts on David Williams?
Yeah, that's a tough one, obviously. My mind goes right to Gail and the kids. You retire so you can spend more time with your wife doing the things you've always set up to do, trips. And that's the first thing she said. We have all these plans. I think with myself and David, it was we were together for 17 years, and I think when you talk about people who have passed, sometimes you can glamorize them because you just do. But with him, we had a relationship that was very professional for the first, I bet, 7, 8, 9 years. And then after that, our relationship became very personal. And I really learned how to love him because I just watched him in situations where he just nurtured and took care of people that needed it. I'm not just talking about the Donnie Everett situation, but I watched several episodes on this campus athletically that were very difficult to manage. And he was always in the middle of it, taking care of the individuals that were hurt the most, whether it be the parents or the kids themselves. And I think, you know, the instances that I remember, certainly Donnie's situation. I mean, he just handled himself in such a, you know, positive way for the parents and us. And then, you know, the national championship too. I remember getting on the field with him, and I'll never forget his eyes. It was like a proud father. You know, he just had that look about him. And then I got my hip replaced, and just a small thing in November, at the end of November, and Maggie drives me home from the hospital, and I get out, got my walker out there, used it for one day though, and who drives in right behind us is David Williams with dinner. So, you know, he was that guy. I got some very intimate conversations with him over the last 8 years. My last one was when he told the coaching staff that he was going to retire, and I sat in there with him for about an hour, and I just explained to him, not knowing we would ever lose him, but how much I cared about him and how much he meant to me as a person in terms of what he did for me and Maggie and the program and the coaching staff, and, you know, just our program. Everything that we have, he's got his fingerprints on it, so gonna miss him terribly.
Coming, or has it come up on you guys pretty quickly, you think?
I mean, it's something we've all been waiting for since, you know, we all came together in the fall, but I'd say it's come pretty quick, you know. Time flies, especially like when you're on the field every day, taking care of business, so yeah, it's come up on us pretty quick, but it's exciting.
What is it like to start things off with a big road trip? Obviously, going over to Arizona, facing some ranked opponents right out of the gate, but also getting a time for you guys to bond.
I mean, like I said, it's exciting, you know, but we've been bonding all fall, so, you know, you'd like to open at home, but either way, I think it's going to be good for us just to be able to travel, be able to stay at a hotel, be able to room with our teammates, and just, you know, spend a lot of time together. Especially kind of gets you used to, you know, SEC and being able to travel and stuff like that. So I think it's a good thing for us.
3 different opponents, all very good. Is that better, worse, more challenging in any ways than if you were to play, you know, just one good team in a 3-game series?
I think it's. I don't know. I think it's a good thing for sure. I mean, you always want to challenge yourself on the field, especially with a different opponent. I think it's good for us to start off the season this way, facing very talented teams, and I think it's going to benefit us later down the road.
Austin, I think you started 5 different positions plus DH last year. Now you're starting at second, where you didn't start at all last year. How's that transition been, and do you like just kind of knowing you're going to be in one spot every game?
I wouldn't say that I know I'm going to be at that spot every game. You know, it's very versatile lineup that we have this year. So, I mean, I could be moving different positions, whatever's best situation for the team. But, no, I don't really have, like, my heart set on starting second. Wherever coach needs me, I'll be able to play.
Being around this program, I mean, you know how you guys carry yourself and stuff. Going into this season, into this tournament, kind of with the #1 rankings, what does that mean to you guys, and how do you hold yourself accountable for that?
I don't think the ranking really makes a difference about how we're gonna like hold ourselves. We always hold ourselves to a very high standard, whether we're ranked #1 or 25. It doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, it's a great honor to be able to have that coming into the season, but I think that our main focus is just to play ball the